guys, just off the back of the Hibs Celtic game, FansView episode 2, who thought we'd have made it this far? Disappointing result once again. Not really much that you could fault with the performance in my eyes. Hazard flapped at the goal. We didn't really have much to offer up front. Apart from that, I thought it was a pretty well-rounded performance. But the boys that were brought into the team on 24 hours notice actually made a decent impact. What does everybody else think?
Totally agree with you. It's a good performance all round, especially with no recognised striker playing. It's quite good. Yeah,
I think that's the one thing we missed, though.
We didn't look like we were scoring at any point, which is rubbish. But then again, no striker. It's a rubbish situation, is it?
Aye.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously you look at Harper now. There's going to be a lot of mixed opinions on his performance. Again, when we first announced the lineup, and then when it was on the build up to Sky Sports, they had him playing out wide, and they referred to him as an American winger. And then when we started the game, they said that he can play up front. I've always, from his youth, like coming through the ranks at Celtic, or playing for the reserves, thing like that, I've always recognised him as a striker. Didn't know he could play out wide until it was said on Sky. But he didn't have that goal scoring threat in my eyes. The one opportunity where he could have squared it, was an open goal if he played the ball back. I think he was really good at looking for space, though, trying to make things happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I feel you can't judge him now. That's his first game for Celtic. He's 19 years old. And Hibs is never an easy game. So to play that as your first game at that age, it's quite impressive, I think.
On 24 hours notice as well. I think every team's our bogey team right now, mate. The way it's going, I mean, I don't know. A lot needs to change. Another positive you can take from today's game. I mean, Gavin Strachan, Damien Duff left, Gavin Strachan came in. Things started to sort of go downhill from there. A lot of folk were kind of looking at him going, what's this guy all about? You've got the meme where it's him and his laptop and all this, right? But I thought there was a really positive aspect from the dugout tonight with him basically being in charge of the game.
I thought he done really well.
Aye. You seen him relax Sal in the second half. The camera was focused on them. He was like telling them what to do and instructing them. And I can't remember the last time I seen Lenny do that at all. His first game.
He looked like he wanted to be in the job more than Lenny.
Yeah. There was a lot more interest. And I said that to my old man as well. He obviously messaged me after the game, but that's what I said. We're obviously looking to rebuild for the future, and the one thing I don't want is Celtic to take the easy option. However, it wouldn't surprise me if Strachan is in the dugout for the weekend for Livingston at home. I think it's pretty much guaranteed because the isolation period doesn't come up. Wednesday is sort of a hit and a miss because I think the isolation finishes on Tuesday or Wednesday. Whether the coaching staff, as in Lennon and Kennedy, are going to be back in the dugout, I'm not 100% sure. But say Gavin Strachan gets tonight, he gets the Livingston home game and the Livingston away game, and pulls out. I know he didn't really pull out a result tonight, but he pulled out a decent performance with what he had available. If he does that over the next two games, then there's absolutely no denying that we may have a guy that's in the running for getting the job next season if Lenny is no longer in the position.
Who'd have said that 2 days ago?
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Well, it might be a good change for the players to have a wee bit of like a different sort of manager or coach rather than having Lennon and the normal coaching staff.
Definitely, aye.
Yeah.
It's the bit that has annoyed me about this whole thing is the communication between the club and the fans. And all throughout the pandemic, it's been to the Sun, the Daily Record, the Daily Mail, newspapers like that. It's never been directly given to us.
Yeah,
we're always last to find out.
I think this was a prime example of that as well. So if you look at it, right, we just came back from a trip to Dubai. There's obviously been a lot of yes and no's about, why it was done and who should have and who shouldn't have went and all this. And, everybody's got their opinion. I'm not really going to go into it too much because we did go into it, obviously, last week. But the one thing that, as you say, the communication with the fans, which kind of they pulled a blinder, is nobody knew the 13 players out until the lineup was announced.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah. What sort of communication is that?
I mean, I feel like we deserve to know. I'm not saying tell us at 10 o'clock this morning, but tell us maybe 3 o'clock this afternoon, 4 o'clock this afternoon, so as fans know what to expect.
They don't have to wait to start a lineup, but surely Hibs already know who's out. So why can't we find out? What's wrong with that? I think in general, as fans, it's just like, I've never felt like the fans are so far away from Celtic. Like, in terms of we're over here and the board just didn't care about us in the slightest.
Yeah. And you know what? People can go about blaming COVID and all this, and there's no fans in the ground, fan blah, 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 blah. But I'm not being funny. How many Celtic fans are on, it doesn't matter whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, how many Celtic fans are on social media these days? And if they aren't, have somebody within their family circle who is,
Everyone.
All it takes is a simple Facebook post, a simple tweet, a simple Instagram post to let us know what's going on at the club. If worse comes to worse right now, again, it's a mixed opinion thing, the Green Brigade or North Curve Celtic as they are on Twitter, right? You pass a message. They're the biggest thing to do with the fans in terms of recognition. You pass a message on to them. I mean, they have a say in a lot of things. They're in a lot of meetings and all that sort of stuff. You pass a message on to them to give out to the fans. It doesn't take a lot.
No.
All it takes is a tweet to say, look, these are the 13 players I saw it, and best of luck to the boys today. It's not hard. It doesn't take a lot.
Exactly. And I don't see... Yeah, and I don't see what the issue is with telling us either. It seemed as if, they're sort of shying off. We don't want to tell these guys who's out, it might look bad on us. One, it already looks bad on you. And two, we can kind of guess who's out by the time you announce the lineup anyway.
Aye.
Yeah, exactly.
The only player who they actually announced who was having isolate was Julian, and he's already off for 4 months.
Exactly, so that made no difference to us, I mean, why is Julian there in the first place? If he's out for 4 months, why is he in Dubai on a training camp?
I get the one to build team spirit over there, and that's a wee bit of why they go to Dubai, to kind of get the morale up. But there's a fucking pandemic. Why are they taking I'd understand even if 2 weeks later he'd be back, but it's 4 months. It's stupidity.
Yeah. Do you not think as well, right? Celtic, and I said this last week as well. As I said, I don't want to sort of dribble into fucking the Dubai trip too much, but I'm sure I've seen something in a statement. What Celtic done in Dubai, they could have done in Lennoxtown.
Easily.
Yeah.
The only difference they had was they got to spend the end of the day lying next to a pool with a pint.
Go home, sit in front of the fire with a pint.
Yeah. And okay, the heat difference as well, right? The heat difference was obviously an impact as well, but just increase the intensity back home. Aye. You could have still requested that the game be moved to the Monday night if that was necessary.
And if you stayed home as well, you get one of our games in hand played in midweek, as well as maybe move the fixture to Monday night if you wanted that extra time over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Increasing the pressure on Rangers.
Did you say Hibs asked for the game to be moved?
Yeah, they were asking for us to get tested again and to move the game to tomorrow. And Celtic said no, and so did the SFA.
Well, it was actually, the SFA said no, but the thing is, right, with a lot of this stuff, and I can kind of, in a way, I kind of understand why they asked for it, but on the flip side of that, if we, professional or elite sports, should I say, and athletes, they get tested on a regular basis. If we can return a negative COVID test 24 hours or within 24 hours before a match, That's sufficient evidence to go ahead, in my opinion. And if Hibs made the decision not to play today, we should have been given the points. I mean, that's obviously not going to happen now. It's been and done. I would have rather they'd done that after the result, obviously. But to turn around and say that, we don't feel confident about playing because of the recent events. I'm sorry, but St Mirren had 5 players out with COVID as well. I know it's not quite the 14, but St Mirren had 5 players out with COVID, but they were still happy to play. We've only got one positive result. They had 5.
It was a total PR move. Like, they were trying to score points against Celtic. Or they've just been to Dubai. It's a chance. Like, that's what it's about.
They were expecting the points to get handed to them.
And surely you'd want to play Celtic right now. We've got 13 first team players out injured, out isolating, with John Kennedy and Neil Lennon also. It's an easier.
Mate, I'm not being funny, right? See if we were playing Rangers this weekend or today, they'd have been rubbing their fucking hands, mate. They'd have been laughing at us, going, "Oh, well, thanks for the 3-0." You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm not. As I say, I'm not taking anything away from the performance that the guys put in the night.
Good performance.
I thought when Okoflex came on, very similar to Harper, doesn't give us what we want scoring wise, but he was moving into space. The only problem with that was he was drifting out right every time the ball was at the back, and every time the ball got played out to the left.
Aye.
You know,
I think Jacob had a good point when he was watching the first half. He said something. Just see if
Did I?
Repeat. Aye.
Well, the only thing I can see out that I only watched bits and bobs of the game. The only negative I've seen of that is Karamoko's substitution was far too late. It should have been far earlier from what I've seen. So
I'll give you that. I will give you that. The thing is, right, I would have started Karamoko. Whether he can last a full 90 minutes or not, that's a different question. But you're lining up in a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, however you want to play it, right, without a recognised right winger. You've got a recognised right winger on the bench.
I know. You start.
That didn't make sense one bit.
How does it not make sense?
They should have started him, is what I'm saying.
I was going to say. And at the end of the day, what I would have done was I would have dropped Drogic, because I'm not being funny, and it's been proven in the past. No, but he's brilliant as an impact sub.
He's hopeless starting.
He scores goals late, but he can't score goals late when he's humped after 70 minutes.
He has the fanciest feet in the Celtic team, that without a shadow of a doubt. And he does pull off. He puts himself into space that no other player can put themselves into. But what does that give you when you can't score goals?
I think Rogic is a great player, but he's only a great player for that 60, 70 minutes. He can't last a full game. And what professional footballer can't last a full game?
Quite a lot when you're at Celtic, mate.
True.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but when you're not making subs till 75, 80 minutes. Lee Griffiths, he came out and said it publicly. I'm not match fit, but how am I meant to get match fit when you won't play me?
Exactly, I suppose I.
You know? And that's the same with the likes of Rogic. I mean, you know, you've got Rogic, you've got Dembele, who is a cracking wee player. He showed it against Hearts. Okay, he's not going to be a 90-minute player, but he looked so off the pace tonight.
Yeah, he was so far off it. But then that's because of lack of game time. You can't give them 24-hour notice. No, even expect them to come on and any of them to have a star performance, a star out, shiny performance.
Exactly.
Fair play, the boys first set him up though. You know what I mean?
Especially, and Stephen Welsh, obviously he's played before, you know, you kind of expect him to step up. But especially Harper, in my opinion. Obviously, these young boys were on the bench. They kind of had that wiggle, you know, we might get a run out. That Norwegian boy, I can't pronounce his name, but if one of the centre-backs got injured, he would have been the first one to be shouted, you know. But Harper was told, mate, you're starting the game. You know what I mean? That takes a lot to step up and sort of fill boots, the likes of Griffiths, Ayeti and Klamala. I think, again, not offering that threat going forward, but looked sharp, looked like he wanted to find space. Was just a bit unlucky to get a bit of cramp later on in the game.
But again, as time goes on, the more minutes he plays, that cramp, that won't be in his game for much longer. Just keeps those minutes at a high quality
100%.
football. level.
I've just had something. What are they doing at training? Your guess is
they're all
as good as
getting
mine.
cramp and can't last 60, 70 minutes. Surely that reflects badly on our coaching staff.
I would say yes, but I'm not. When you say coaching staff, I'm not bringing Gavin Strachan into that. Man's a legend.
Nah. Yeah, he's got a laptop. He's
End of the day, right? End of the day, that bench night was picked by Gavin Strachan and his FM tactics.
Yeah, he signed them off from the championship or some shit.
Fair play to Jakey bastard.
But here again, another huge respect to him. Like he also had 24 hours notice to step up and lead the team tonight. You know, a guy that is probably sat there thinking, you know, I'm going for sitting on my laptop one game to lead in a team. And I'll be honest with you, they were talking about him taking direction from Lenny, you know, Neil Lennon, Kennedy, all that going into the game. I don't think he sat in his seat once the whole game.
No, he never. The only time I think he might have got some word was when Oakflex had his AirPod in. That must have been a phone call, I assume. Because I imagine a big outrage if he's sitting listening to his music on the bench.
I don't think they should be having the AirPods, to be fair. That's a wee bit unprofessional.
I don't know. Like,
mate, Jock Stein would be ashamed. Right, that's all I've got to say to that.
The only thing that I can think as well, though, right, is that players walking into the ground, they sit and they listen to music on their way in. He's obviously had his headphones in, listening to music, warming up and all that, right? I don't really see an issue with it when you're coming on. I think it gives you that extra bit of motivation. You're listening to something that you want to listen to, something that gets you hyped, ready to go. Especially at Oakflex's age, you know, it's sort of the norm to listen to music, so you know, gets you hyped. So I can sort of see it, but at the same time, when you're called upon, take them out. He walked from his seat down, took off his tracksuit with one still in. As soon as you're called upon, you take them out, you get your jacket off, you get ready.
Right, because he's getting instructions and that as well.
Yeah, and he still had them in.
I felt that was a bit disrespectful a wee bit, as much as I actually quite like Oakflex or Pedoflex, whatever you call them.
That's top tier patter. Another thing I sort of want to move on to is Benkovic. So
he won't come.
Well, he's not going to. So this is what I'm saying. So sort of Benkovic and McKenzie. So you look at that's two centre halves who are quite highly rated from a Celtic perspective. Both of them have been in talks with the club, and both of them have went to Belgium. Why?
I think it's our club being incompetent and our board being incompetent.
Like, looking at us right now, what was this time last season? We've got the Champions League. We're going for 10 in a row. We've got all these things that, like, as a player, you want to go and try win. No. But we're coming second. Why would you sign for a team in Scotland who's coming second? You'll get more money down south or in Belgium. Like,
so think about it from this perspective, though, right? You've got two high-rated centre backs who. So McKenzie was a buy. That wasn't a loan or anything. That was a buy, right? That was buy and he's there for next season. That's without a shadow of a doubt. Benkovic was loan with an option to buy. So you're bringing these guys in. You're looking at how they play. You know, you're getting them ready for next season. We finished second place. Finishing second this season, we're still in the Champions League qualifiers.
Aye, we are.
First and second get it for next year. So any player in their right mind would go, right, this team, okay, they might lose the league this season, but next season they're going to be in the Champions League qualifiers. There's a chance to make a difference. They're then looking to bounce back and get the league title back. There's another difference. Instead of going to Belgium where you're not going to have the option to play Champions League football, because they're not signed for league winning teams.
No, Benkovic, his team's like 6th or 7th, I think. I was reading about it.
Exactly. So they're not signing for teams that are going to get European football next season. I mean, worst comes to worst, the past sort of couple of years, Celtic have guaranteed Europa League group stages.
Yeah.
Okay, it might not be the Champions League, but you're still going to get a. And I'm not being funny. If you're a football player, you're getting a bonus.
Yeah. We also had that guy from Charlton Athletic, Alfie Doty.
Him. And then obviously Celtic and Rangers were both linked with him, and he's not coming to neither of them.
He's going.
I'm not being funny, right? Rangers right now look like they're running away with the league, and I don't think anybody can overlook that fact.
No.
They're going to be, they're not guaranteed Champions League football, but they're going to be in a latter stage qualifier than us, which gives them a bit more of a rest at the beginning of the season. However, for a youngster to turn around and not knock them back as well as us, what does that say for Scottish football?
Especially when they're basically guaranteed Champions League football next year as well.
I think they've only got, two qualifiers next season? We've got 3?
Yeah.
I mean, that's on the off chance that we don't pull this back. There is always that chance.
Which, the way it's going, we're lucky to get second place.
I think we need to. The one thing, obviously we're going on about. I know it's more points dropped, but tonight's performance kind of just needs to. Tonight's result kind of just needs to not be looked at as a bad thing. It is obviously a bad thing, but at the same time, like. This performance or this team tonight could be where the rebuild comes in. Yeah. For next season. You
wonder if Karamoko Dembele, if he gets a run of games, if he'll sign that new contract to stay next season or the next again season. If he knows he's going to be part of that rebuild. Mate.
Apologies for the technical difficulties. I have absolutely no clue what we were talking about. Is there anything that you guys want to discuss?
Jacob wants to discuss Cameron Harper's performance, I think.
Oh, fuck off. I was actually a question. Do you think Karamoko Dembele will start against Livingston?
No. I think he will.
No. I would like him to. And unless Strachan does want to change up a bit. He's obviously, I think as much as he didn't look up to pace, he did show something tonight. There was one time he got the ball taken off him, he got up and got it straight back to then lose it again, but that's not the point. I think if we had someone that the ball could be delivered to up front, the performance maybe... Yeah, exactly. Somebody like Griffiths or Klamala, not so much Hayeti and Edward, I think. They're not really target men. I think they sort of run about looking for the ball rather than getting the ball played into feet. But again, come next week we've got we've got all 4 of them out. Which isn't really good. I think you're pretty much guaranteed Harper's going to start again. Unless his cramp turns out to be something more than cramp. He might start Okoflex up front. Obviously, Okoflex is known for being a striker in the, in the reserves.
Yep.
So I think there is, as much as we say there's not option. I mean, this is the first time this season that we've actually struggled to have any squad depth. Yeah. Apart from the centre back positions, which again takes us back onto, what's so bad about the Scottish League that these 2 centre halves didn't want to come. Is it a positive that we know we're in the market looking for a centre back? But is it a negative that we've looked at 2 and not one of them have wanted to come?
To be fair with the Benkovic deal, the club he went to is an affiliate club with Leicester, so it's quite an obvious move.
Not when the manager of Leicester's bigging up a move to Celtic, it's not though.
Exactly. We felt we're guaranteed Benkovic because of Brendan.
Mate, Brendan turned around and said it would be a brilliant move for his career again.
I know.
Wasn't it Brendan signed him for us?
Yep.
I'm sure it was, but yeah, I'm sure it was. But yeah, it's just a weird one. Like, I don't know what's going on, and obviously the board have a lot to do with transfers that are coming into the club. There's a lot of talk around the reason why managers don't like to manage Celtic is because they don't have a say in. I say don't have a say, but they don't have the biggest say in who comes in.
I feel Brendan did when he was in. I felt he wasn't the manager, he was also the first team coach, and he also had a place in the boardroom as well as managing the team. I felt he done a lot for the club.
I think that's why he left. Like, Rodgers could clearly see that Lawwell wasn't going to put in the money that he'd got the first few seasons. And he just stuck the two fingers up and was like, fuck yous then. Like, if we want to win stuff, we need to back our managers. And we've not done that.
End of the day, you're right. So you look at, I back Lennon 100%, but you look at the income that taken out of the COVID situation, because obviously this is a negative impact on every club. I don't care who you are. But you look at the income compared to the outgoings from Celtic outside of COVID. No wonder Rodgers left. Like, don't get me wrong, we spent 9 million on Edward, which at the time everybody was like, wait a minute, what, we're spending money? We spent 5 million on a Yeti, which was a waste of 5 million. We've spent small amounts of cash on a number of players who have had absolutely no impact on the squad. So I don't think it comes directly from the board or the managers. I think a lot of it comes from the scouting staff.
So would you replace Nick Cameron?
How many Marvin Compers have we had?
We have absolutely no one near as good as Marvin Compper.
I know. He was a god. See, when he came on against Morton, he was an absolute hero on that pitch.
Mate, the guy got more league winners medals than any Rangers player has, and didn't even play a minute in the league.
Up until the 11th of January 2021. Because we'll get one end of this season.
Yeah.
So
did Compper not get 2?
Yeah, Compper got 2, did he not?
Because I'm sure he was different.
You need to play like 5 league games though for a medal.
Not if you're Marvin Compper, you didn't.
All right, fair enough.
How could you not get a medal and everyone started cheering him?
Aye, but I can only mind him getting it once.
Because I mind that season, the season that he got one, that I remember him going up for one.
Yeah,
I'm sure but loads of people got one that year. So Karamoko got one, Okoflex got one. Because mind all the young boys came up at the end because they sat on the bench for the last game. I don't know if that was just for sure, like your match day squad gets a medal and all that, but I remember them going up for one as well. And he was on the bench that day, so I don't know if he maybe had to hand it back and give it to somebody that actually played 5 games, but...
Going back to the scouting, would you
even Busa got
remove Nick Cameron?
Season.
Shut up. You were saying scouting.
Aye, would you remove Nick Cameron and get somebody new in? Like,
well, how long has Nick Cameron been at Celtic?
Too long.
No, but genuinely, I mean, he's been there a while. But how many good signings has there been? There has been a few. That's the thing. You're obviously going to guarantee that there's going to be a lot of bad signings along with the good. Not even bad signings, just signings that haven't had the chance. So, for example, Marian Shved, right?
That's plenty.
Oh, great.
Sure.
No, but listen. So you've got like Shved, you've got Bio, that Gutman. There's 3 off the top of my head that a lot of people will go, oh, they're pissed, right? But when have they had their chance to prove themselves?
Shved played once against the Stan and he scored an absolute raker.
Exactly, but
Shved's just been criticised for his attitude by his loan manager.
So he got called a loaner, aye.
But still, but this is what I'm saying. So you've obviously thought there that I was about to say he's a bad signing, but I'm not. What I'm saying is these kind of boys that have all been brought in, right, and they're now being labelled as bad signings, but they've not had a chance to prove themselves.
Yeah.
But is that their fault for in training? Because we don't watch training or that. But
you'd hear more stories, I think, if it was due to their training. Don't really hear a lot about that.
Yeah. So, for example, Tony Watt.
Yeah.
He got shipped off, and it was known that he got shipped off because of his attitude problems. That seems to have now settled down now that he's later on in his career. But Tony Watt could have went on to be one of the best players that Celtic had in terms of a striker if he just kept his head down and got on with it. I know everybody's going to relive that goal against Barcelona, which is probably the best goal I've ever seen in Celtic history, just purely because of the meaning behind it. But in other games that he's played, he showed good movement, and he's quite a big lad for a footballer. There's no doubt about that. But he's very much a John Hartson-esque player. He can score goals, he can hold the ball up, but he can also run.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the right attitude, you're not going to play for a club like Celtic.
You don't
Simple as
deserve
that.
the attitude's key for a club like
And I
Celtic.
think that's where Shived's issues might come in. If what is being said is true, if he's got a bad attitude, what chance has he got? Like you say, he came on for Celtic, and he scored a belter. And from that moment on, he should have been getting played.
Yeah,
I think Celtic sort of put, especially because I like this. So you look at Sheved, you look at Karamoko, and then obviously you've got your main one. You've got James Forrest. Out of those three, you've got two players that have got a lot of potential. One, Karamoko more than Sheved, but Sheved is still a young player. He's still got a lot of potential. Could probably do really well in the Scottish League. They're always going to choose James Forrest because of his loyalty, which I kind of agree with because, yeah, exactly. So it's the way I look at it, right? And I say this week in, week out, is that in Scottish football, the one thing you miss is loyalty. But on the flip side of that, if you've got a chance of producing a better player, why not play him?
Well, even the thing is, let's remember when Paddy Roberts came in the second time, he wasn't there to be the starting winger. He was there to challenge Forrest. And Forrest went on to have probably the best season of his life. It was the same with Craig Gordon and Doris de Vries. They played de Vries for a few matches. Gordon came back and was a world beater. Challenge makes players better.
But as soon as we get a player in that's going to challenge in a position that we need somebody to step up, they get shipped out on loan.
Yeah.
I know. And that's what I'm saying. So Karamoko, for example, I know James Forrest is injured, but when he's fit, if James Forrest isn't pulling his weight, I swear you put me Karamoko in. Because I'm not being funny. That guy runs for days.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you notice that he's stepping up to the plate, Forrest is going to be like, "Oh shit, what's going on?" You know what I mean? And he's going to step up. Don't get me wrong. I'm not slating Forrest at all right now because, if anything, he's the player that we need back more than anybody.
We just need proven wingers back. That's what we're missing.
Yeah, I think when Forrest is back, I think we're going to start going 4-3-3. Yeah. Moy on the left, Forrest on the right, and
Klimala
I would prefer Griffiths up top.
I would play Klimala over Griffiths.
I'd play Klimala over Griffiths.
Are you a madman?
No,
I'd maybe go Griffiths 60, Klimala 30.
Yeah, to be fair, Klimala's not really good starting. He's more of a super sub. He's absolutely rapid.
I think you give him game time. And he'll change. But I think at this moment in time, if you're going to 4-3-3, you start with Griffiths up top. He's the only player that's driven and hungry to score goals.
Well, if you take what Neil Lennon said, that Griffiths is overweight, he's no fit, he's not putting the work in. Look at Klimala, who is fit, he's putting the work in, and he's wanting to be there. Coming back to your attitude, then would you not play Klimala for Griffiths?
But then Griff kind of turned that around, mate. He turned around and said that's a load of balls, man. He says at the end of the day, how are you? Because I'm not being funny. The last couple of times Griff played, he's looked sharp.
He has. You know? In fairness to me,
how's he meant to get match fit if you're not going to play him?
Oh, that's one for Neil Lennon, that one.
Well, that's it. So but there's another thing. You're looking at Lennon saying one thing and Griffiths saying another. Harmony. There's one of your other problems. What Lennon should be saying is, Griff may not be match fit. However, we are going to try and feed him into as much game time as we can. Your player's then going to agree with you rather than turning and saying, "Nah, you're wrong, mate."
Why aren't they even? Has Griffith played for the reserves at all? Surely that's like an opportunity to at least get him kicking a ball in a match situation at least.
Like, surely apart from the. Carry on, mate.
After he's obviously his big break duties at mental health or whatever, he played for the reserves to get back to full fitness. But ever since that, he's not.
But I think at the moment, apart from the Glasgow Cup, I'm not sure there's actually any reserve football going on.
No,
I've not heard a lot. Apart from us winning the Glasgow Cup, I've not heard anything about youth results or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But as far as I'm aware, I've not heard anything.
Because I was reading Celtic and Rangers wanting their youth teams to go in League One.
League Two.
League Two, sorry.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the negatives of that are. Obviously, you can't let them get promoted to the Prem. That doesn't work. But who cares if they're playing against Montrose and all that? Sure,
it's actually good for them.
All parties. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Don't get me wrong. Anything below Championship's been stopped just now as well because of COVID. Which obviously isn't great if we did get the Colts team. But there's going to be a lot of backlash off of that because if you put Celtic and Rangers Colts, you also need to look at the other Colts. So, Motherwell, Dundee United, Hibs, Hearts, all that sort of stuff. You need to look at their Colts teams. You put Celtic and Rangers into League Two, you're not only taking away the promotion chance of Highland and Lowland League, you're also then looking at the teams like your Motherwell, your Hibs, your Aberdeen's going, wait a minute, why are we not being put into this league? And then if they turn and say, oh, well, actually, yeah, we will put you in this league, you're then just looking at a league full of Colts teams.
Aye. But because Celtic and Rangers have the best facilities, with no disrespect, in Scotland for youth development.
I'm not being funny then. Hamilton deserves a Colts team in that situation then.
Yeah, same with United.
Hamilton's youth development is, I would say, up there with the best in Scotland, just behind Celtic and Rangers. And Dundee United are close behind that.
Yeah, I suppose Dundee United as well, yeah.
Hamilton are built on youth. They're built on bringing players through and selling them on. Their stadium's called the Fountain of Youth Stadium for a reason. Hamilton's youth development is quality. And if you're looking at giving Celtic, don't get me wrong, tonight showed that you could put the youth players into a second team and put them down in League Two.
I think League Two might have been too easy for them.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And that's where, but this is where it comes in that you're going to get the likes of your Karamokos and that playing 90 minutes a game. But then you're looking at the bigger picture of going, right, if he ends up playing well in, League One, League Two, Championship, you've then got that thought of, right, bring him up to the first team. You're then leaving the Colts team with less players.
Well, if they're a Colts team, can they do that? Can you play up for the first team because technically you'd be your own team. So
you can come up, but you can't go back down.
Right.
Because it's similar to Barca and Real in that. They've got their second teams. So like that, what's his name? That Pedro or Pedri, whatever his name is. He got brought up he got brought up from Barca too. But he can't go back down to Barca too. Because it's basically just so Barca still fund Barca too, and not fund them as in provide them with money whenever they want it. Pedro will have a contract with Barca too, but instead of paying a transfer fee, they just pay him out of his contract. There's no, it has to be agreed. It's done. If they want to pay them out their contract, they pay them out their contract. They go to the first team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no transfer fee on that. So that's basically how it would work. If say Karamoko's on $3,000 a week and he's got a year left on his contract, we'll pay X amount to bring him to the first team. There's no transfer fee. Colts can't say yes or no. It happens. But he cannot go back down to the Colts.
What about staying in the youth? What about if we change our sort of way we ran the club to like a Red Bull sort of style or like an Ajax sort of style, where it does focus on that youth development to get any young players and build them up to be.
You need a manager that wants to do that though.
Be a long,
you need a man.
It's not overnight. I know.
Philosophy needs to change. I don't think it would work because, well, look at Tierney. How often will you get a Kieran Tierney, a player like that?
But then again, properly fund it.
Given the opportunity, you'd get them quite a lot. Celtic don't spend money, so your next option is to go for youth. Mm-hmm. Instead of signing all these 22, 23-year-olds that are just going to end up getting fucking loaned out, look to your youth system. That's where Celtic are going wrong, mate. We've got okay, people might say they're overhyped, but we've got a lot of boys that, I mean, look at, for example, Afolabi, right? Or however you say his name. He's just been loaned out to Dundee and scored the winner.
Aye. I've always looked at Afolabi. I think he'd be a good signing. Well, when he eventually plays, he'll be good for us.
That would have been funny, but we should be recalling him. We need a striker.
Aye. That's what I was about to say earlier on, but I thought,
you know what I mean?
I only bother saying it.
But then we recalled what's his name for Gillingham?
Scott Robertson.
That's the one.
Jacob actually.
It's no Robertson, because Robertson went to
Robinson.
He went to Bayern Munich. Robertson, so it's Robinson we called back. Yeah. But yeah, it's. I just think a lot needs to change, and going back to that word philosophy, I think that's the biggest change.
Yeah. Oh, it's a complete change in mentality. We need to go from taking these foreign players to both. Like, you see today, your first thought when you see that team is, oh, I hope the young players do all right. Whereas in Ajax and Barcelona went, was it 300 games I think they went, playing a youth academy graduate. I don't think Celtic could. I don't think a Celtic fan.
That's only because they've got Messi. You can't play that one, you can't.
Nah, but but I'm talking players who haven't been bought.
Messi wasn't really
Messi wasn't bought. He was brought through the youth.
He came through the youth academy.
He was transferred over through to the youth academy. I'm talking players who were there like
Spanish.
Yeah, Spanish, completely like Barcelona
off the streets sort of thing. Like your Iniestas, your Xavis, etc.
You know what I mean?
So would you know class Cameron Harper as a youth from Celtic?
I kind of would, mate. Cameron Harper.
See, I would say that he's a youth graduate, but
he's probably been picked up at college level, so yes, I would.
Yeah.
But then Messi was picked up for Newell. You see, he played but Newell's old boys. He made first team appearances for them.
Yeah. Then again, he was playing against Painters and Plumbers.
Yeah, they don't really have the same sort of rules as we do either. Like he obviously played in non-competitive games because I think he was like 14 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if you could say the same about Okoflex. We got him from Arsenal. Afolabi, did we not get him for Spurs?
Was it not Southampton?
Yeah, it was
Southampton.
I couldn't tell you. But I know it was a Prem club.
Look at Frimpong as well, taking him from Man City Youth Academy and putting him right into our first team.
That Leo Connor from Man United too.
Yeah, him as well, aye.
Luke O'Connell. Why did Luke O'Connell not get a game tonight?
That's a funny one.
Was he on the bench?
He was on the bench, right?
Yeah.
He played a few games. He worked well class, by the way.
He was good at bowling.
He done well pre-season. So the
It's same with Sorrell. I thought they were stand out pre-season.
I'm going to say this quietly, but he was in Dubai, so you know. If he's been picked as part of the training camp, then why is he not playing?
I don't know.
You know,
I could see him starting against Livingston, but don't know.
Possibly. I think that they are going to change a couple of players in the team, but
I imagine Henderson would start as well.
But this goes on to my butt though. You've said Luke O'Connell and Henderson, right? They're both central midfielders. Are you really going to drop McGregor, Turnbull, and Sorrell?
Luke O'Connell left back.
Oh yeah, he's done a job.
Callum McGregor right back, surely.
Cal McGregor left back. Mind what happened the last time he played there?
Don't remind us.
Absolutely, you know.
But you know what I mean, like that, and this is the first time I've said it, and I'm actually really happy I'm saying it in a way. So like I have a lot of midfield options.
Aye.
Oh, we're stacked at midfield.
But we have been for a couple of years now, like even back in Dyer's time.
Yeah,
how long
that's what I'm
was
saying.
Ryan Christie a Celtic player without getting a game?
What are you saying, sorry?
Like, how many players like Ryan Christie have we had that just don't get a game?
Too many.
Obviously, Christie's now came good, but Kundai Benyu and all that.
He was meant to be top tier, by the way.
Aye.
He was an absolute numpty.
He's now League 1, League 1, League 2 in England.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, he was meant to be top tier. I think he was meant to be along the same lines as Sorrow.
Kouassi is also another flop.
Yeah, yeah. And he's actually played a couple of games and looked really decent. Because mind, we had the likes of them right sitting on the bench or out on loan, and we brought in Yusuf Malumbu.
Like, what signing that was?
His game against.
Is he not Killy now?
Oh no.
Well, he came from Killy and then went back to Killy.
Yeah.
Like, why are you signing players like that when you've got the likes of your Kouassi, your likes of Benyu and all that sitting there waiting ready to get a game?
Mate, I swear we only signed him because the goal he scored against us. Like that. That's all he's done in his career.
It wasn't even that good at goals because De Vries was a tube as well.
We played Henry in that game.
I honestly don't understand what people have against him. I think he's a good defender.
He's just a bit of a
He scored 2 goals the other day.
He's a bottle merchant, mate.
When does he come back? Is it this window or next window?
It'll be summer.
Summer.
So let me put it to you. You
summer.
go on like, oh, he's a bottle merchant. Is he any worse than Duffy?
Duffy played well tonight.
No, I know he's played well tonight, but you look at the mistakes Duffy's made. Is he any worse than Duffy?
What is this Duffy's turning point? Maybe.
Don't really think he's got a choice but to make it a turning point.
I suppose.
I thought the past few games Duffy has actually played quite well. So even in Old Firm, I thought he's put in a good wee shift when he came on.
Aye, that Ryan Kent tackle was bang on, I thought. What about Laxalt?
That is when he gained my acceptance.
Aye. What about Laxalt? That's the Old Firm. He's caught nowhere. Then again tonight, there was multiple times. The Hibs
You know what?
out and out the count on.
And I brought it up last week.
He's a left man.
Against AC Milan. No, not necessarily that he's a left winger. I think he does have defensive qualities, don't get me wrong. But he's left isolated out on that left-hand side by himself every single time.
Yeah, he is.
You know? I would like to see Taylor at left-back and give him a shot at left mid. See how that goes.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
I think Taylor would be better as well because he's got something to fight for. Whereas Laxalt, I don't think we'll be signing him next summer, no matter what the outcome is.
Not for the price they want.
Nah, 7 million.
What is the price they want? I've not seen it.
7.2, mate.
Nah, I would be
5 million and I'll take him.
Nah, I would say about
rather have
3.5 maximum. I would say for me.
Oh, you know, say.
It's a clusterfuck for top to bottom. I don't think there's any shadow of a doubt about that. I think we just need to sort of start rebuilding for next season now.
Yeah, we need to accept that we've fucked this season and focus on making sure we win it back next season.
Do you let the youth play this season, give them the chance to impress?
You may as well.
I would play
There's nothing to lose now.
You don't want all your players like leaving because you've not played them for a few months.
Aye.
Especially the likes of your, I keep bringing him up, but Karamoko. If he leaves Celtic, he's going to go on to play. I mean, there was talks in Dortmund, right? But even if he goes to somebody like, say, Southampton, Burnley, anybody like that who have probably got a better youth setup than Celtic, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Better training for them. He's probably going to go on to be a world-class player.
Definitely, he's got the attitude for it, I believe. I think he really wants to be playing. He really wants to, from what it looks like from an outsider's view, he wants to be doing all this stuff. But
he just runs, mate.
Yeah, I just don't know why he's not getting a chance.
Yeah, it baffles me every week. But then so was Messi.
Yeah, exactly.
Messi had to be put on growth hormones, mate.
Look at when he got half by Hickey last season. He just got back up and kept running.
Carried on running, mate. You know what I mean? And there's an Aaron Hickey. We missed out on him, but he's not the biggest of players. He's a left back.
I would still take him, by the way. There's fans saying...
Mate, the guy's built like the side of a 5 pence piece. And he's a quality left back, you know what I mean?
How's he doing over in Bologna? Is he doing well? Haven't heard of him.
He's starting anyway,
I
mate.
think
He's
so,
starting.
Yeah.
Serie A, class is one of the top 5 leagues in Europe. You know what I mean?
I hate how Scotland have got 3 good left backs in Tierney, Robertson, and soon to be Aaron Hickey.
It's just a lot could get 3
Well,
good players.
technically they've got 4. If you want to be, and they're all sort of at different stages in their career.
Didn't bring up Taylor. If you bring up Taylor, I'm kicking you.
How?
Taylor's
Why am I not allowed to bring Greg Taylor into this
level.
conversation?
If you're trying to compare
He's better
Greg
than
Taylor
Aaron
to
Hickey.
Kieran Tierney, that's just no right.
He's better than Aaron Hickey.
That's plenty.
But even then, right? If you think of it, you've got 4 left backs at different stages in their career. You've got Robertson, who's at the top of his game. You've got Tierney, who is in my opinion, the best left back Scotland has. I don't care what anybody else says, and people may say, "Oh, you're biased because you're a Celtic fan." And
I agree with you.
Robertson is obviously linked to Celtic in a way as well, but I think Tierney has qualities that Robertson doesn't have. I think Robertson's a better left wing back. Yeah.
See, Robbo only plays well around good players. You know what I mean? He needs to have a good squad to play good. You know what I mean? He'll go into any squad and just, you know what I mean?
KT on his day, right? If KT was at the top of his game every game of the season, he would win you 15 points a season.
Easily.
With the interceptions and challenges he would make, he would win you points.
You see on Twitter all the time of crosses into the box, it's Lacazette and Aubameyang.
Imagine the amount of assists he would have this season if they actually sink them. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, boys, we're going to need to wrap it up. Just one final thing before we obviously do go. Big shout out to mental health. Obviously, speak up. If you need to speak up, obviously you've got friends and family. Anybody's here to talk to, obviously us boys, for us lot on the podcast. If you want to message a podcast, we've obviously got the page as well. Give us a message. We'll be more than happy to speak to you.
It's the fans view.
Anybody want to add anything to that before we wrap up?
FansView 67.
Fans view on Twitter.
The number is 116123 if you need any support at any time. And you can also get in touch at TheFansView 67 on Twitter. We'll be happy to help. Thank you for watching the video. Listen to the podcast.